The night a drunk small-town cop jammed his gun into my chest on a dirt road and called me boy, I told my men not to fire. Seconds later, a bullet tore through his shoulder instead of mine, and by sunrise, the country had my face on every screen labeled the black general who ordered his own soldiers to shoot a police officer. If all you ever saw was that clip, you'd probably think you know exactly who I am, right? Hero, thug, problem symbol, whatever fits easiest. My name is Marcus Cole, and I'm going to tell you what actually happened on that road in Claiborne, and how one fake word in my voice almost rewrote the law in this country. It was late humid, the kind of southern air that sticks to your neck, cicadas screaming over worn-out pavement, oak trees leaning in like they were eavesdropping. My convoy had moved ahead while one truck stayed behind, stalled out carrying communications gear and a man I used to be. Too old to impress anybody, too black for some people to respect in uniform, too stubborn to let a drunk kid with a badge decide what my rank meant. His name was Officer Harlan Beckett. 20 years younger, full of liquor and attitude, skidded his cruiser sideways like he was pulling up to a bar fight instead of a stranded vehicle. He kicked my door hard. Out. Now. No greeting, no reason. I stepped out, slow hands visible, let the light catch the silver on my shoulders. Marcus Cole, United States Army. He smirked. Out here, Cole, that shine means less than a parking ticket from me. In Claiborne, I am the law. Then he stepped close enough for me to taste the whiskey on his breath and added soft like he enjoyed it. And I especially don't like black uniforms trying to outrank me. Yeah, that happened. I'd seen men like him overseas, only they weren't wearing our flag. You're impaired, officer, I said. Walk away while this can still be boring. He laughed. I'm drunk on power, not booze. His hand never left his gun. Mine tapped my radio. Echo units hold position, do not engage. What he didn't know was that my team was in the tree line running a security drill watching. He heard the click, squinted at the woods. You calling back up on me, old man? The world got small right there. Just his shaking gun, my heart beat the weight of every time someone like me had to choose between pride and survival. You sure this is the hill you want to die on? I asked. That's when he raised the gun to my face. Kneel. The cicadas went quiet like God muted the scene. I could feel my men wanting to move. Instead, I repeated, do not fire. And then one shot cracked the air. Harlan staggered, hand to his shoulder, red pouring through his fingers as he dropped. Somewhere in the trees, a young soldier's voice broke on comms. Sir, warning shot. I swear I missed. Cease fire, I snapped. No one moves. But the story was already gone. Sirens, floodlights, local cops, county state phones up, cameras rolling. What the world saw was a drunk white officer bleeding on the dirt and a black general standing over him with blood on his hands and soldiers in the shadows. By dawn, the headline wrote itself, High-ranking black officer orders military to shoot small-town cop. You know how fast people pick a side when the picture looks familiar. They picked it. I was on a plane to Washington before I'd even washed the blood off. They sat me in a cold room with no windows, just a metal table and a man in a gray suit who acted like we were old friends. He pressed play on a recorder. Out of that cheap speaker came my voice, clear as radio echo units fire. Same rhythm, same gravel, same breath, just not my words. That's your voice, General Cole, he said. Audio plus video equals a national crisis we need to contain fast. Then came the papers already formatted. I take full responsibility. I retire. Everyone moves on. You sign this. We call it a tragic miscommunication, he said. You keep your pension, your medals. We stabilize the country. That's patriotism. People who sell that word always want you quiet. I pushed the file back. I never gave that order, I told him. Someone faked it. He smiled like he'd heard that one before. America doesn't have room for conspiracy theories from tired war heroes, sir. That night in the temporary apartment with more cameras than lamps, I did what they assumed I'd forgotten how to do. I followed their own trails into the operations archive, and there it was, Clay Ops, voice simulation trial vendor Ridagewell Arms, synthetic command replication, notes about controlled crisis to assess civilian law enforcement military response. My old briefings used to train an AI model of my voice. One line like broken glass, necessary damage acceptable within test range. Authorization. Colonel Charles Ridagewell, now CEO Ridagewell Arms, a man whose life I had once dragged out of a minefield. Next morning I walked into his glass office. He poured me liquor. To the past, he said. I dropped the file on his desk. You cloned my voice and used a drunk cop as a lab rat, I told him. You turned justice into a product demo. He didn't flinch. We provide tools, he said. Others write scenarios. No crisis, no contracts. Honor doesn't pay invoices, Marcus. That was the twist right there. It was never about one bad cop, it was about a system that needed blood to balance a spreadsheet. I left with everything I could copy and started moving faster than they could shut doors. I sent files to 3 newsrooms, a civil rights group, and Elias Moore, a reporter who still had sand in his boots from Iraq. Then I went back to Claiborne to see what Harlan had tried to fix too late. His house was stale and quiet. Under a loose floorboard was a USB drive stained dark Ridgewell's logo still visible. On it, a meeting video, Ridgewell and local officials greenlighting a Claiborne trial, calling casualties variables, laughing. There was also Harlan's voice, sober. This time I was wrong, Commander. I was told to push you. They wanted a reason. A dead man trying to pull the fire alarm on his way out. As I left, a shot came through the window and blew apart the family photo instead of my head. Message received. When the leaks hit, their version started to crack. One clip went viral. Ridgewell on stage, drink in hand, saying, "A little controlled crisis helps Congress approve faster. No blood, no money." Another showed training where dark-skinned targets were flagged as faster threats. People went from, "That general snap" to, "Hold on, what is this?" Claiborne moved first. Black veterans churchmen, kids who grew up being stopped for nothing, walked into the police station one night. No bullets, just body armor and truth. They sat officers down, hit play on Harlan's message, and Ridgewell's orders streamed it all. Whole town heard that the voice that said fire wasn't mine, heard their own department listed in a spreadsheet like props. You could see some of those officers realize the badge on their chest wasn't the only thing steering them. Federal suits panicked. They came back with a fancier non-disclosure. You walk free, we restore your honor, you never mention Claiborne or Ridgewell or simulations again. I picked up the pen, flipped to the last page, and instead of signing, I wrote, "Justice does not require silence." The man reading it went pale. "You know what you've done?" "Yeah," I said. "Stopped letting you rent my name." So we went to open court. Cameras, crowds, everybody watching. They played the fake audio of me saying fire. Then a forensic team took it apart in front of the world. Splices, spectral mismatches, Ridgewell software fingerprints. They played the internal videos, the emails, Harlan's confession. They showed that the only real command I gave on that road was, "Do not fire." When the prosecutor asked if I recognized Ridgewell, I said yes. "A man I once saved. He tried to joke, and now you kill me with words." "No," I told him, "just giving your truth back." The judge delivered the verdict. Ridgewell guilty, fraud, conspiracy, manipulation of military systems, feeding a racist pipeline for profit. Some officials quietly vanished from their jobs. Congress passed what they named the Claiborne Act. More oversight, mandatory recordings, a little less dark for people like him to hide in. Outside, people chanted my name, held up signs, called me the man who woke justice. They built the Marcus Cole Center for Justice on the old lot. Looks good on camera. I went once, stayed outside the fence. Speeches aren't my thing. I drove up the hill to the cemetery instead. Stood at Harlan Beckett's grave. His boy was there with a folded flag. "Why did you forgive my dad?" he asked. I watched the wind move through the oaks. "I didn't," I said. "I just won't let hatred live longer than he did." Maybe that's the closest thing to mercy I've got left. You'd think that's the end, right? Villain exposed, law passed, roll credits. A month later, a young officer met me with an envelope. Inside, photos from a new training program up north. Different contractor, same code, same silhouette, targets a shade too familiar. At the bottom, Ridgewell Systems Project Renewal. Machine hadn't died, just changed its mask. "They've started the old way again," he said. I felt that tired fire in my chest. "Then we still have work to do," I answered. "So that's the story behind that 10-second clip they fed you. A drunk cop who thought he was the whole law, a bullet that hit the wrong man, a company that turned fear into a business, a country that almost let a fake word in my voice bury the truth. Now I want to hear from you. Was I right not to take their deal, not to trade silence for a clean headline and a fake redemption arc? Do you think locking up one man is justice, or is the real fight against the system that made him possible? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me where you've seen this kind of thing in your own life. Push back if you disagree. Share it if you think people should look twice the next time someone on a screen tells them exactly who to fear. I'm Marcus Cole, and this time you're hearing my voice, not theirs.